All right. Hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today we're going to be talking about YMAX, specifically the YMAX bull run that we have been seeing recently. So, over the past month, we've seen YMAX actually appreciate about 2.42% while paying out roughly about 44 to 60% in terms of dividends. So what I want to talk about today is my current portfolio, my position on YMAX to show you guys how it's been performing. I also want to show you guys how YMAX is performing in terms of its stock appreciation towards major indexes like the Dow Jones and SPY, because you'll notice today SPY is actually down 0.44%, whereas YMAX is up 0.84%. Why is YMAX outperforming? I have some ideas in mind and I want to kind of touch on that today. Why YMAX is actually doing better than the S&P 500 today, and why YMAX continues to outperform, and it continues to do very well over the last little while and potentially into the future. So if that all does sound good and you're a YMAX investor, we're up to 6,159 subscribers, 328 subscribers in the past 28 days. Smash that subscribe button and the like button if you guys enjoyed this video. What I want to talk about is I actually added about $3,000 more to my portfolio. And what I did with that is I put it into DLR.to. And what I'm doing with this, you can see the 3,000 right here. I'm going to be journaling that over to DLR.u.to in order to convert from Canadian to American dollars, which has gone into my margin account. I'm doing that because I'm building cash. I want more and more cash in order to take advantage of those opportunities. But what I want to show you here is we're currently up about 8.22%. Works out to about $2,700, which is cool. That's awesome. And why is this? We look at our positions and we see nothing's up anywhere close to that. We see YMAX up the most here, which is up about $300. And the reason being is because this is all of the cash flow that we've received from our investments, whether it be YMAX, whether it be ULTY, even maybe a little bit from SPXS. And YMAX doesn't necessarily have to be a capital appreciation play because it pays us such high dividends, and as long as we reinvest those dividends, we're going to accumulate more and more monthly income. But you could see here my position on YMAX, I have an average price of $17.67. YMAX share price is currently sitting at $18 and to $18.03, which is awesome. So we're up on that position and it's been trending very well. Of course, it correlates with the overall market. The overall market has been doing very well. We've seen a steady uptrend, and even YMAX over the past little while, although there's been a little bit of a drop on the 13th, it looks like, here, we've actually recovered a little bit in our YMAX investment and are approaching those previous highs which we were recently at. So what's the deal? Why is SPY down about 0.43% today and YMAX actually up over 1%? It continues to gain. So my kind of theory around this is the S&P 500 is very heavily weighted in certain stocks like Tesla. I think I even have TSOY up here somewhere, right here. Like in Tesla, the underlying stock for TSLY, it's very heavy in Google, Apple, Amazon. They make up about 30% of the S&P 500, whereas in YMAX, each underlying ETF, whether it be, for example, we have MSTY or we have YBIT or we have NVDY, TSLY, they're all very close to an equal weighting. One ETF might have a stronger weighting than the other, but for the majority, they're all about 3 to 5% weighting in YMAX. And the cool thing about that is they can move YMAX pretty much the same depending on what their appreciations are. And in the S&P 500 today, a lot of the major companies are down. A lot of the major companies, even that YMAX holds, but they hold at a lesser percent, such as Google, Apple, and I think even Netflix, they're all down today. But what's not down is a lot of our Yieldmax ETFs, such as MSTR. And MSTY has benefited from this, up 4.4% today. We also have YBIT, which follows Bitcoin, which is up 3.66%, something that you're not going to see in the S&P 500. We also have NVDY up 1.64%, doing pretty good. We have TSLY up 1.72%. And of course, there is a few Yieldmax ETFs that are trending on the downside today. Google, Netflix, and Apple are all trending down, but they're not huge percents. But I was wondering, I was like, okay, all these markers are pretty good. Like they're up a couple percent, whatever. Why is YMAX trending up today? Usually when YMAX is trending up big on a day where the S&P 500 is down, it's because there's one ETF or one or two ETFs that are pushing it the right way. And today I found that to be AIYY, which is the Yieldmax AI option income strategy ETF. And for the majority of this ETF, it's trended down. But today you can see we're up 11.6%. And that's fantastic. That's what's helping YMAX in order to push up and be positive today. And one thing that I do want to say as well is that with this decrease in price, if there is the possibility that they can return back to their original share price here of about $20 or so, this is the 6 month. I can even go out to the year here. You can see the trends even worse for this AI option income strategy ETF. But if AI is able to turn around, then we could see even bigger gains for YMAX. And that's just because this ETF has performed poorly over time, but we've had staple ETFs which have done very well, which YBIT, MSTY has doubled in terms of share price, which is fantastic for YMAX. But if we're able to get the ETFs which have performed poorly and have them with these breakout days, that significantly pushes YMAX higher. And another one, we talked about MRNY on the channel before. A lot of people agreed they want to stay away from this. But in the previous day, they had a bull run where they went from about $4.81 all the way up to $5.34. That was about a 7% gain. That gain also helped YMAX. So a lot of these YMAX ETFs that have been crushed over the last little while, if they start to do well, we are going to continue to see appreciation in YMAX, even when it looks like the S&P 500 is trending down. So that's kind of my reasoning behind it. And that's why I really like to invest in YMAX. YMAX, although I compare it to the S&P 500, it's very true. The weightings are different. The weightings are more even across all of the underlying ETFs, which I like because the S&P 500 can be very skewed towards Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, some of those big companies. They call them the Magnificent Seven. But for YMAX, they're fairly spread out. They're fairly even across the board. And I like that they invest in ones like YBIT, for example, which is which is Bitcoin. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit out of just like the standard stocks and companies. You have even an AI one, which we just talked about, although it's done very poorly. When it has good days, it reflects on YMAX's share price. As you can see here, continues to trend up. And it's difficult to purchase YMAX at these times because I buy consistently about $1,500 in my cash account. But I'm currently saving up a lot of money because I want to go heavy in my margin account, because I want to use debt in order to leverage my investments. And I have to be very smart about this. I want to have an opportunity where I believe the market is trending down and I believe the market is at a good price to buy, whether it be at a low point or a support. But I want to make sure that YMAX is in a good position to trend upwards when I'm buying in my margin account. Other than that, I will continue just to buy in my cash account, continue to hopefully remain positive. I love to buy when I go below my average price. I don't really like to buy when it's above, but sometimes when you're investing for the long term, that is the best thing to do. If you believe YMAX is going to be good in a few years, then you invest and you continue to invest regardless of the share price. And I do believe that YMAX is going to be a potential strong investment continuing forward just because of all the underlying companies that it has an investment in the share price returns. MSTR, of course, has done fantastic over the last little while. I don't necessarily know how much higher Bitcoin is going to go because I'm not necessarily huge in the crypto space, but it's fantastic that we've seen a lot of movement in the recent bull run. I do believe NVDY is still a strong company, Tesla, a strong company. I'm not so sure about AI and Moderna, but there's a lot of potential upside for YMAX for the future, which is why I continue to hold. And this is just another day, another example of why I like YMAX's strategy. Of course, not every day is like this. YMAX does not outdo the S&P 500 every day, nor am I saying that it will, but I do believe that it's well positioned in terms of its weightings in order to take advantage of when these maybe lesser companies that have done worse can kind of boost up YMAX's share price for the day and potentially beat the S&P 500. So that's kind of my view right now around YMAX and its potential bull run that we still have left to go, or that we're pretty much, I know we're currently in the bull run for YMAX. I'm not necessarily sure how much higher it's going to go. It all depends on how the market reacts. Currently, we're at a position where we're approaching a support. This is our support here, about 584, and we've hovered about this marker. You could see here, this is not super bullish in my opinion, where we had a breakthrough. We reached a new all-time high. We had a kind of downtrend here. We had a little bit of an uptrend, but then the next day following, we're negative. And it's pushing us into the support. I believe if we break through the support, we might hit another break at 578, something about there, 575. But then if we push through there, we're looking at the market going down to about maybe 570, or if we break through there, could potentially go even lower, about 540. So it's going to be very interesting to see how SPY kind of performs in the next little while. I'm holding cash. That's what I'm doing. I'm building my cash position because I'm not sure where the market's going to go. You never really know where the market's going to go. You can always try to anticipate, but over the long term, it trends up. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So continue to invest, continue to do your thing, and I'll continue to keep you guys posted on YMAX and the recent bull run that we're having. So that does sound good. We're up to 6,159 subscribers. Continue to subscribe. It's free. And I can only help you, hopefully, in keeping you posted with what is going on with YMAX. So if that does sound good, please do take care. Please do make a comment down below about your YMAX investment and how it's been performing for you. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on that. I hope you guys do take care. Have a great day, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.